What's up, you guys? It's your boy, Matty fucking Smokes.
It's hot as fuck.
No, it's not. It's just me, Noah. Noah fucking Horns. No, I didn't think about that. We shouldn't use that. That doesn't work at all. I'm Lockhorns. So today we're doing it a bit different. We're going in unscripted, so it's sort of like having unprotected sex, except everything. I'm going to try to be a bit entertaining without actually having anything written down, so it's probably going to suck. What we're doing today is ranking the #1 best metal band of all time. And as you can see, we've got quite a lot. We're having an uneven number, so Cannibal Corpse have some reason just went on to round 2 already. So congratulations to Cannibal Corpse, I guess. I tried to vary them a bit, so we had a bit of different styles and kinds of bands. Let's just go ahead and take it from the top. First off, we have Anthrax. And Slayer! As you can see, I put exclamation points after it. Slayer! Both of them are part of the Big Four of thrash, but to be honest, I don't really see a lot of competition here. I mean, no offense to Anthrax, but Slayer is Slayer and it's sort of the fundament of all extreme metal. Obviously both of them have sold a butt ton of records, but Slayer is definitely the more popular and influential one, I would say. So congrats to Slayer. You're moving on to the next round. Next round we have Mastodon versus Type O Negative.
It's gonna get ya, yeah.
One hand we have Mastodon, who are obviously a very important and somewhat modern prog band, and Type O Negative from like the 90s and being, I actually believe, perhaps the only gothic metal band. Personally, I prefer Mastodon, but I sort of feel like in this case the Type O Negative is a bit older, so might take the victory because of that. Also because they're representing the only gothic metal band. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Sorry, Mastodon, love you guys. If I were in charge, you had won, but this is not up to me. This is some higher power speaking through me right now. All right. Next up we have Venom versus Dream Theater. Venom is obviously a very important band for extreme metal, both black metal, partially for naming it, and also, well, I would say thrash and death metal. And then we have Dream Theater, who are also a very important prog metal band. Dream Theater might be the more popular one of these two, and I sort of feel like that what Venom represents as being very influential for the extreme metal genre. We can also put that on a lot of these other bands, so therefore, since Dream Theater is maybe the biggest prog metal band in the world, I'm going to give it to Dream Theater. So, sorry Venom, Dream Theater takes this one. Oh shit. Then we have Death. What some might consider the original death metal band versus Meshuggah. The Godfathers of Gent, and probably my personal favorite band of all time. This sucks. Yeah, so Death were pretty fucking important when coming to creating death metal. You might even say, obviously. And on the other hand, we have Meshuggah, which, if you ask me, might be perhaps the most influential band over the last 3 decades. So I have the Chucks of Meshuggah versus the Chuck of Death. I would really want to give it to Meshuggah, but I just really can't get over. I can't see how Meshuggah would have existed in all the other bands that have been influenced by them without death, because there's like the beginning of like prog death as well, which is sort of what Meshuggah is doing. So you know I love you, Meshuggah. You're Meshuggah. But it goes to death. This is tearing me apart. I'm this close at crying. Metallica versus Korn. As far as I know, the best-selling metal band of all time versus the godfathers of new metal. I'm going to say this godfather thing a lot. I might say something else. The inventors of new metal. This one is sort of obvious. Korn, huge band, but I can't see how they should beat out Metallica. Metallica takes this one. A matchup you probably wouldn't see usually, but we'll have Motley Crue the only glam metal band, I believe, on this list, versus Mayhem. Who is the only like true black metal band in this tournament, which some black metal dudes probably are going to be really pissed about. On one hand, we have Motley Crue, who obviously sold a lot of records, and in that regard you could say they're more influential, more people have heard of them. But then you have Mayhem, who are, if not the most important, then at least one of the most important black metal bands. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to give this to Mayhem. We're obviously not talking about the mainstream, we're talking about metal. Metal for metal guys. Motley Crue, you're out, and therefore I don't think we have any more guys being dressed up as women either. Which wasn't something I thought I was going to say when I started recording this episode. So who's going up against Mayhem? We have to choose between Napalm Death the only grindcore band on this list, and Judas Priest. Napalm Death, obviously important, but I mean it's Judas Priest, one of the biggest metal bands of all time, who like cemented the entire way that like metal looks. Really fun that it's sort of coming from queer culture, and how a lot of people don't know that. I think about it as being like a very like heterosexual masculine way, but I think it's fun at least. I think this one obviously goes to Judas Priest. It's sort of weird because I feel like I'm dissing all these other bands, but but I mean all of these bands are great. Otherwise it wouldn't be on this list. Halloween versus Slipknot. So Halloween is maybe most important power metal band versus Slipknot, who is obviously a huge band. Oh, this is so hard because Slipknot gained so much popularity and amassed such a huge following, which is obviously a lot bigger than Halloween. And you know, Corey Taylor being a mainstream known person, in some way like mainstream popularity is going to be a very important factor when doing this kind of stuff. I would love that more bands were important for subgenres to go on, and I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror in the morning if I did that. So Slipknot, you're going on, leaving Halloween in the dust. Then we'll have Opeth versus Iron Maiden. So another prog metal band versus, well, it's Iron Maiden. It's sort of obvious. I mean, Opeth, really important, prog band, really important, prog death band. How are you going to beat Iron Maiden? Like pre power metal, I guess. Like you can really see how like that anthemic nature came into metal from Iron Maiden, and Iron Maiden is just a huge ass band. So I mean, it's not really a competition. Personally, prefer Opeth, but oh shit. There you go. Iron Maiden, you're moving on. Lamb of God versus Gojira. Two of my favorite metal bands. So Lamb of God, I would say, is probably the more like legendary of the two bands, since they just have existed longer. That being said, Gojira is the beginning of a new movement with like, so actually what Lamb of God have been doing with all this like groove metal stuff, but then mixed with prog, which is like a very original sound, but you haven't really seen the influence in so many other bands yet. Also, like Gojira have really amassed a huge following over the last decade. When people ask me what the best concert I've been to, I always say it was when the first time I went to see Lamb of God, because they're fucking sick on the stage. I feel mostly because Lamb of God have had longer time to prove themselves that they're winning, but it ain't by much. Close one goes to Lamb of God. Then we have
Rammstein.
versus Dragon Force. Rammstein is sort of weird when I'm trying to say it in like German, like German English. Rammstein. So we have Rammstein. I did it again. Dragon Force is sort of weird band because like power metal band. Like I feel like fans of like who are actually fans of power metal don't really like Dragon Force. On the other hand, it seems sort of like people who like barely know power metal sort of refer to like the sound of it as, you know, it's always like Through the Fire and Flames of Dragon Force. Very influential band. Also, you have to mention Guitar Hero, which obviously a lot of people know them from. But then we have Rammstein, which is Rammstein. Well, first of all, Rammstein is the only industrial band, or industrial metal band, I should say, being represented on the list. I feel like Rammstein is both like in sales and sound the more important band of the two. Sick ass live shows once again. So Rammstein, moving on. System of a Down versus Sepultura. So System of a Down is like sort of a band which is really hard to pinpoint because people usually call them new metal, but to be honest, there isn't really a lot of new metal about them. Like I would maybe call them like old metal because like it's obviously metal, but like the influence is so far away from a lot of other subgenres and what you usually put them in, and it isn't quite prog because it doesn't have all like. It's not like prog because it isn't really that much about like weird time signatures and that kind of stuff. And then we have Sepultura, who are very important death thrash band, and also really important for like the entire groove / like a new metal wave, and with their album Roots obviously, and also Sepultura being a band who have evolved a lot, like especially since they like changed the members. So I think it's going to go to Sepultura for primarily actually because of roots, and I don't know, some people might be hating on that and saying that the thrash period is way more important, but like if you look at how many people were just influenced by the sound on that album, is just, yeah, it's going to go to Sepultura. Then we have Suffocation versus Megadeth. Right, so Suffocation, while they're obviously an important death metal band, I also feel like they're a lot more influential than people tend to think about, because they're sort of like the beginning of like deathcore and you know, slam, whatever, death metal, slam, death slam, grand slam. So obviously very important band, but yeah, this one is going to go to Megadeth. And once again, I'm sort of biased here because that's Mustaine hanging out there. I'm a pretty big Megadeth fan. Was hugely important for like obviously thrash, but also like the prog thrash and prog. When you have sold, I think, about 80 million albums, I mean, that's a lot. Just a lot of people listening to you. Just, you know, Megadeth, you're moving on. Congratulations. Oh, I succeeded in saying that. Well, I can't speak. I shouldn't be a YouTuber. Alright, this is a fun one. Behemoth versus Motorhead. Yeah, so Behemoth, Black and Death, who are a surprisingly popular band today, especially like considering how heavy a band they actually are. Also, how blasphemic all of their songs are. And then you have Motorhead, who is, well, Motorhead is fucking Motorhead. So I mean, Motorhead is obviously the more legendary of the two bands. This is really hard because I feel like it's really different things different factors you have to look at these two bands, because Behemoth is also speaking about Christianity, and which I don't know a lot about that, but apparently this is a huge issue in Poland. That is at least what Nagel is saying, who's hanging there besides me, watching me, who I might believe I'm about to disappoint a lot. Nagel, love you, baby, but I can't really see you beating out Motorhead, because once again, just one of the biggest bands, and also being sort of the guys pioneering the double pedal, which obviously is really fucking important in metal today. So Motorhead is moving on. Black Sabbath
Evil-minded plus destruction
versus Pantera. These are obviously two huge bands. A lot of people are saying like Pantera saved metal in the 90s, and don't know if I necessarily agree about that. We had a lot of subgenres emerging in the 90s, who I think is very important for the genre and how it is today. I wouldn't single-handedly say it was Pantera that saved it, but to each man his own. The thing is, they're up against Black Sabbath, who are, well, as I said before, and previously I've called other bands godfathers of whatever subgenre, but Black Sabbath is, you know, the godfathers of metal. And that is just a statement which is pretty fucking hard to beat. So, very sorry Pantera, this one is going to Black Sabbath. Hi guys, I'm cutting the video short, but if you want to keep updated on part 2, which should be up in a couple of days hopefully, go press subscribe. And of course, like, it would be really awesome. Anyway, we still need a shout out, and this week's band is Glass Helix. They're calling themselves a new metal band, so a modern new metal band is pretty cool. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching the video. As I said, go press subscribe, please like. See you guys soon. Bye.